everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is Eric Flegel at Family Fortune Financial, and this is our Thought and Action podcast. I'm here with Chuck and Dana Stazowitz, formerly of All Hours Plumbing, but now they have successfully exited, and they are the co-principals at Opus and Gold's Group, and they're helping other people build up and exit their companies as well. So a huge resource. I've gotten to know them pretty well in terms of their strengths, and they make a really pretty powerful duo. So I'm super thankful that they're on, and I want to focus this episode on what exactly they do, because I think this is an area that most business owners that want to grow, I don't want to say they neglect. I think that a lot of times you're growing and you'll think, how do I grow more? And you having an outside perspective with someone that's done it and been successful doing it can supercharge the growth and future exit of a business. So with that, I want to just get a quick moment for Chuck and Dana to introduce themselves. Maybe talk a little bit about the success of All Hours, and then we're going to dive into Opus and Gold. So Chuck, you want to talk about All Hours as, basically what you brought it from and to and exited at?
Yeah. So Chuck Stazowitz, I'm in Salt Lake City now. I'm originally from New Jersey, North Jersey area. I moved to Salt Lake City in 2008 and started All Hours Plumbing in 2011. Hired my first employee in 3 months, and we just left with around 120 employees. At our highest, we had 130 employees doing about $20 million a year in 12 years. So, yeah.
Awesome. Doing really good business. And then Dana, why don't you talk a little bit about your role there as well? Because I know it's going to come in as we talk on this podcast.
You bet. So I was with All Hours just shy of 4 years, and was actually hired. Well, I basically started, we didn't know what we were going to do with me. Just like there was really nothing. I actually have a marketing background and brand background, but basically at the end, I was general manager or COO. Driving the day-to-day business.
You're basically the get it done person. Can you get somebody to get it? Every company needs a Dana. Just put it that way. So help me understand. So Opus and Gold's Group. Give me the high level. Oh, and one more thing. Chuck and Dana are not married. They're brother sisters, so it's even better. They got an even deeper, longer relationship than married couples. So they figured out how to thrive. In a multi-decade relationship, they can help anybody work on their relationship. So that said, focus of Opus and Gold's Group. Someone says, I want to engage with them. What person is kind of your ideal target market?
Yeah, we can work with any business. Obviously, we'll specialize in home services because that's what we did, right? Like that would be probably the easiest one for us, where we wouldn't really have to think a whole lot. But I just did a conference with over 100 attorneys, and the conference was on about how to grow their business. And I got great takeaways as well as gave great takeaways from that. We're focused on helping any business, Eric. And our sweet spot is probably the $2 to $10 million range. But realistically, we'll talk to anyone. We know we can help people because what I've realized as an owner is when you're in the owner's seat, you're emotionally attached to things in different ways, right? And if you have somebody from the outside come in looking in, you get a whole different perspective on it.
Right. So you said 2 to 10 million. 2 to 10 million is gross profit or net revenue?
Total sales. Yeah.
Total sales? Okay, perfect. And then so that people understand too, on your side, if you're your growth towards the end came when you got a coach, right? So you're almost trying to replicate and help people figure out how to supercharge the way you supercharged.
Yeah. I say it, we just did another interview with you on the exit, and I said, you asked me what I would have done different. The biggest thing I would have done different would have been I would have got a coach a lot sooner. Again, no regrets, but I have, I do know that the exit that we had would have been 4 to 10 times, at least 4 to 10 times more had we had a coach from day one.
I want to ask you both. I mean, you obviously you've had a successful exit. You both did different things to help make that exit as profitable as possible. What are your specific specialties, and how does that help, a prospective business owner?
I would say I can help with, understanding the emotions behind decisions, right? I was very emotionally attached to my business, and I made some pretty poor decisions being emotionally attached to it. It wasn't until I figured out how to remove those emotions that I could make better decisions. I would say that's probably one of them. The other is motivation, right? Like, and transformation. Like, I'm really good at figuring out how to get over the hurdles. And motivating teams. I mean, I can also come into operations, really dissect operations with things. Pretty good at marketing as well. Like, I like marketing; it excites me. So I dove into that on my side, even though I don't have a school background for it. I did well with it. I also just helping people understand that it's okay to have a burnout, and that's not defeat, right? Like getting past that hurdle. It's gonna happen. Like, all business owners go through it, So yeah, those are some of my superpowers.
So for me, as we've discussed actually in the last podcast, I am definitely a driver. I'm definitely very operations, very much because Chuck and I, we can be very ethereal, but then I will bring us back in and say, okay, so what are we going to do from strategy? Like, how are we going to make this happen? And I will bring it all in, or I'll be like, do we really want to do this? Like, where does it fall in that? Just bring very much operational driving to get things done. I just need to understand what's the bigger picture, and then I can get everyone there. I have a marketing degree. And like Chuck said, he is marketing. We have different, while we both have marketing, we're different. I tend to be more brand. The social stuff I know, but my passion is brand. I've worked in the agency world. I've worked for Fortune 50 companies working on their accounts. And so have a lot of brand photography experience, all of that. And Chuck and I both are super strong in mindset stuff. We both have done a lot of work on ourselves personally, and we're super strong for mindset and helping others with that as well. Just keeping themselves really clear so they can be there for their companies, for their families, etc.
Yeah, I really want to pause on the mindset thing and just ask you both, because I think it's super crucial. How limiting is it for a business owner to focus on growing the business without growing themselves?
I would say it's extremely limited, because I think while they may be able to get over a little hill, they're going to continue to have issues if they can't personally get where they need to be, because they have to be there for the team. I mean, they have to take care of themselves first in order to be there for their teams and to be able to help them get through the tough spots. It's not to say that we didn't have our tough spots, for sure. I mean, we both did. It's tough when you're trying to exit a company and everything you're going to go through to get that. And so it's great if you have, like Chuck and I had each other and the rest of our executive team. And so if you all can get there together, it's much easier.
Yeah. For me, Eric, on mindset, like, it wasn't until I got mine in check that we even could have come close to this. Your employees are only going to do about 60 to 70% of what you do. Okay. So if you're operating at 50%, your employees might be operating at 20 or 30, right? Now, I was blessed to have Dana working with me, so she brought that level up. But yeah, I noticed that tremendously. And look, I've heard it time and time again. Absentee owners don't work. If you're not 100% in your business, get 100% out. If that right there, if you've learned anything today, you're either all in or you're out. There isn't little pieces. It doesn't work because, for me as a business owner, even though if I was trying to do something else, my mind was still on the business, or I was still making a phone call for the business, or I was still doing something for the business, right? Like I was never off, and I say, 12 years, I didn't shut my phone off. I literally did not go on a vacation unless I didn't have service that I didn't shut my phone off. August 1st was the first time in 12 years that I shut my phone off for a week.
And I would say too that, there were times, and Chuck can attest to this, where he would just come in not the right mind space. And I would go and talk to him in his office and say, okay, you either need to leave the building, shut your door or something, because it set the tone for the building. And you can't have that. Everyone feels that. I mean, Chuck has a big energy anyway. So if it's not good energy, it would just be this cloud. And, if someone doesn't have someone that can tell them in a kind way, you need to check your energy, or it might be better if you leave, we'll be better off with that. Just to wrap it back around, mindset is huge. It really is.
Yeah. And I want to go back just to superpowers for 1 second, Eric. I wanted to add this, what me and Dana, neither one of us talked about. We're really good at working with family. We're brother and sister. And that we've figured some things out. We started this business together, Opus and Golds. The first thing we said to each other was, this is a whole different ball game. I was the owner over there. You were the COO. What lane do you want to be in? What lane do you want me in? How do you expect me to show up? How do I want you to show up? We set the expectations before we even came up with a name, and I think that that's really important, that we can help people understand that, because someone's probably got a mother, brother, sister, cousin, someone working for them, right? And they just don't know how to have those, I wouldn't say hard conversations, but just conversations in general, and being real, down to earth, and saying look, we had a talk one time during COVID, and Dana had an understanding that she may be laid off. We had that up front before it was going to happen. Because when that conversation would have happened or could have happened, it would have been a lot easier by teeing it up. Say, hey, what if this was to come about? How would you feel about it? So we talked about it, and I feel that we can really bring a big dynamic to anybody that's doing business with family. Now, husband and wife, that's a little bit different. There's a lot of emotions there, but I still feel we could do a really good job.
Yep. And we had my daughter working for us as well. I mean, so we've had multiple family members. And to be clear, for Opus and Golds, Chuck and I have a contract in place. Well, it's almost there. But we do have a contract that we drafted up. We both felt strongly about that we need to have that in place. And that's another thing. You're protecting yourselves.
Someone engages with Opus and Golds. What do they expect? I mean, take me through kind of your intake process, and then what they can expect from, engaging with you.
Yeah, we base it on each individual business's needs, right? So we have an intake form. We'll run them through a process, get to know them a little bit, even just jump on a call and just feel them out, see what they want to accomplish. If they know the areas that they want to look at, great, we can help them there. If they don't know the areas that they want to look at, we can absolutely help them there, right? Even if a business is doing good, I still think it's super important to have someone that's not emotionally attached to the business take a look at it at a higher level, because you're going to figure out things that you may not even thought could have been a problem, and you're going to be able to execute on them faster. When we were really, really focused and driving, we had 2 on-sites a year, right? And after each one of those on-sites, we found things and we were pretty focused, but there were still things that were like, oh, wow, we couldn't see that because we were so close. Now, coming from a 10,000 foot view versus the level that we were at, we got a different perspective. And I think I don't care what business it is, someone from the outside coming in and looking at it is phenomenal resource.
Absolutely. And I think it's important just to note, you're growing. I mean, and I think about this for myself. I've got 2 coaches, and I always try to have 2 coaches because I want different views. My business today is as big as it's ever been. And 6 months from now, the way that we construct it, we're not tied to markets movement or whatever, but how it'll be bigger then than it's been today. So you're always going to be working on something that's bigger, more dynamic, usually more human capital, everything than you've ever had before. It's going to be different. So having that outside purview with someone that's solely focused on success, it's going to need more skills to deal with more people, you know? And I think that's where you can come in with two different views. You kind of have I'd say like the visionary entrepreneur growth mindset view, and then kind of your integrator view. How's that all that's great? And this is where what you want. And then you have let's get down to the nitty gritty and deal with it. And so it brings me to a question. When you engage with a company, do you engage with everyone, just the CEO? Like who gets to participate in your efforts?
I want to see the owner first. I want to see what that person is doing in their day to day. That would be first and foremost. After that, I feel it's up to the individual, however they want us involved. Now we can be on the owner level only, all the way down to every person in place to the guy that's sweeping the floors. Doesn't matter. We built one of the best cultures, and the company that acquired us said that's going to be one of our biggest problems is how good and close your culture is, because they know a change is inevitable. It's coming, right? So whether good, bad, indifferent, it's just perspective of it. But they complimented us on our culture many, many different times. You know, so in my opinion, it doesn't matter. I think, most owners are visionaries, right? Most owners, they're that's where their artistic side comes out, and they're visionaries. That's how I am. Dana is the driver. So I don't know if you'd want Dana with an owner or if you want her with like a number two or a team below that. It's all based on the company's needs, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I would say it depends on the size of the company, because that's going to determine, do they have an executive team? Do they have a management team? Because odds are 2-3 million, you're not. It's going to be the owner. And so I definitely have to meet with the owner so I can fully understand what the owner is looking for, why they were connecting with us. And then we can go from there. So if someone is wanting to exit in the next 12 months, then we have a driver package where they will be working with me. We'll be working intensely to get them where they need to be in order to exit. And so we'll be in contact and working hand in hand and just doing I will be all over with them and helping them achieve what they want to achieve.
So this leads me to this next question, which is results wise, someone engages, what kind of results would they be looking to achieve once they engage with Opus and Golds?
Well, sky's the limit, in my opinion. It depends on what they want and how fast and do they want to get it, right? Like we're not gonna tell them something that they can't do, right? Like we'll take a serious deep dive look at it with them, and give them a set of action plan. But going back just a little bit, we want to meet with the owner. We want to see if they have an org chart, accountability chart. That's part of our intake form, right? Like all the steps of how to, and then. If you say to me, Eric, you hired us, and you say, I want to exit in 18 months. Okay, so then we do a deep dive forecasting on the numbers. What type of calls do we need? How many services do we need to offer? All those things, right? We do that now, and we build the org chart of the company that you want to sell now, and then go towards it.
And then time frame wise, to achieve these results, do you have packages based on timeframes, or do you kind of let go on the time frame of the owner here? Let me give you the reason I'm asking. Some people don't know, right? So some people I think are gonna, and I have some questions I'll ask as a follow-on, but they're gonna listen to this podcast and it'll seem scary. I don't have an org chart. I don't know. I'm thinking of something else you said. You didn't turn your, absentee owners don't work. No pun intended. They literally don't work either. But then at the same time, you were like, you never turned your phone off for 12 years. So someone may hear these things and be scared. They may say oh my gosh, this is too much. So when you, and maybe that's good. Maybe they're not a good fit for them because they don't want to grow. And that's, and that's fine. But for the people that want to grow and they're like, all right, and they hear all this and they're excited. Give me an idea of time frame to achieve the results that you're talking about for someone that's really motivated, saying, this sounds like what I want? What are you kind of looking at as a time frame for growth and implementation?
It all depends on where the level they're at now, right? If they're starting from ground zero, it may take us some time. If they've got, some of the things implemented, going to go a little bit faster. If they've got a majority of the things implemented, but they don't have it all like in the certain sections that they need to, going to go even faster. So it's all based on an individual company. Here's the real scoop, right? Like in 2020, when I hired Dana, we had no systems, no processes, 70 employees, nothing was drawn out. We weren't paying attention to anything, and we exited in 3 years with 130 employees. That tells me we could probably do it at any level in 3 years or less, right? So, I mean, it all depends. Now that we know what we know and we've done this really well, I would say average would be 12 to 18 months to get them really dialed in. Could it be faster, Eric? Yes, it could. It absolutely could, depending on the level that they're at. But I would say that would be really, really good data right there. It would be 12 to 18 months. What do you think, Dana?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. That's what I was thinking. And I think that it has to be someone who's willing to put in the work, or have someone on their team who's willing to do the work and be all in. And I think while the owner might not be the one doing the work, the owner needs to be fully engaged so they can make sure on their end that things are happening. In addition to, we'd be right there alongside them.
Yeah, if they took and did everything that we said real fast. If they don't do everything, then there's going to be hurdles, and that's okay too. Like, that's expected.
So you're taking the things that you're going to implement from your experience as a business owner, your experience working with other business coaches, and the things that have really worked with you. And then, am I missing something else? Like, what else are you drawing experience-wise from to drop knowledge on these people?
Yeah, so we're bringing spreadsheets. We're bringing, fractional CFOs. We're bringing different people on our vendor program. Eric, you're a part of our vendor program. We're connecting good people with good people, right? In levels that we're not the experts in, but we know the experts, and we help implement those systems that the experts may say, hey, this is what we need. We help implement that too, because we've done it before, right? Especially like working with you, like someone could ask me, hey, Eric said this, what are your feelings about it? I could easily answer that because I probably asked you the same question 2 months ago, So yeah, we're going to bring a whole lot of specialties. We've got an AI for business vendor that can help you and your team understand the benefits of AI, not just, and help your team understand that their job's not in jeopardy, to embrace the AI to make their job easier. There's always going to have to be a human element towards it. So that's just one of our vendors.
Hold on, wait. What I want to get people to hear, because this is a huge deal. So the same person that, 5 minutes ago we were talking about might be scared. There's a person that's super excited that wants to grow, but they're like, I don't know how to get the C-suite people to join. I don't know how to do more. Like, there's just so much going on already. I don't even have time to try to find this stuff. Can you just say, here's 5 or 10 of the vendor program, like the things that I think are going to make a huge difference? You just named one, AI for business. What are some other ones that someone was like, oh my gosh. So if they hear this list, they're like, I need that. Not only are you going to coach and help me grow, but you're also going to bring these resources that it's a la carte, right? So if they don't need AI for business, no problem. But you have these other 5 or 10. You want to just rattle some of those off? Because I think it'd be helpful for people to know you've got these really good relationships already in place.
I was just going to say, Chuck had mentioned a fractional CFO. We actually have a couple of them that we strongly recommend that can really work with them, looking at their quarterly and yearly budgets and profits. And, that can really dig into things with them on a monthly basis. When you're a smaller company, odds are, like when I joined Chuck, they weren't really looking at their P&L. They knew their numbers, but they weren't reviewing it monthly like we were. that is something I would recommend. Like, you need to know your numbers through and through. And I know you're going to definitely concur on that. And so that's huge, where we have a couple, and both of them are super strong, helping prep for mergers and acquisitions as well. So they can get the books, take a look at them. Even if someone had a CFO, or I'm sorry, a bookkeeper they're working with, our crew can come in and take a look and then just bring it to the next level, so that longer term, and 12 months, 18 months, they can be ready for an exit. We have a great HR resource. A lot of times smaller companies don't have HR. Like, oh my gosh, in my almost 4 years, the stuff we went through, and we had an HR company that we had to deal with. HR is such a miss, and this person can do across the country, so they're covered no matter the state that is there.
We have a high-level insurance agent that can help with business insurance, personal insurance, as well as she can make connections to different levels that you might need: auto, home, all that other stuff. We also have, we have one of the best brokerage teams, I feel, out there. And I interviewed a couple of them. And then obviously you, Eric, like we work with you and your team in the tax strategy portion of it, but what's great about it is the people that we'll recommend on the fractional CFO side are already working with you as well. So it's a synergy that's already built.
So I'm going to run this down. Brokerage team, insurance for your business and personal, bookkeepers, AI, fractional CFO, HR, web marketing, tax planning, and they are all collaborative. And they work with you. It's not like you're not doing a Google search. These are tried and true resources that you can deploy candidly as a business needs it and grows into, the need. Like, you may not have a business broker to start, but when you get to your exit a year or two from now, you might deploy it. And they're good. They're not going anywhere. If anything, they're only getting better. So I like that that's a huge plus from a business coach, because a lot of times I think you think of a business coach as a motivator, organizer, but no, it's not that. It's all the marketing stuff that you talked about for the first 20 minutes. And then these are pieces where, hey, we're a little out over our skis, but we have people that are excellent in these areas that can help get that company kind of rolled up, grown, and exited. It's huge. That's a huge plus. All right. Last question. One word of advice for people that are listening and considering, kind of on the fence. They've never hired a personal coach before. I shouldn't say personal coach, a business coach before. They know that they're stuck and they're like, I don't know. What's one thing that you would say to them to get them to make the decision?
Jump on a call with us. If it's not us, we'll help you find someone. Like, I don't have to do this for work. I just want to give back to people. I know what it's like to be in the owner seat, and I know where the different lanes it can bring you down and different avenues it can bring you down. I just want to give back to people because I feel the passion behind it, like I did when I got into my business at first, right? And I don't do this for a living. I do it because I want to give back.
Full disclosure too, you've got multiple businesses too. So this is like one of multiple things that you're doing. So I just would attest to that. It's not just kind of something said. That's a true statement.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can reach out to me at chuck@opusgolds.com, OPUSGOLDS.com. Our website is opusgolds.com. It'll be up November 1st. Again, we always knew that we wanted to do this. We talked about this 6 months ago, but it's still being processed right now. What do you think, Dana?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. You have to, if you're going to hire a coach, you have to be able to bond with them, take their advice. They need to be able to listen to what you're saying. It needs to be a good fit all around. And like Chuck said, we know a ton of people. So if we're not a good fit, that's fine. We will help you be successful with someone else. Like there are a lot of people we can put you in connection with. But we would love to have the opportunity to at least have a conversation with you, jump on a Zoom for a few minutes, and we can go from there.
Well, I can attest to great people with their heart really in it. no, they don't need to do this to do it because they love to do it. And they like to see people grow. And they put a lot of time and effort into setting up this platform. And I wanted to, do this podcast. I know we're doing this now. It's October 2023. So we're talking about it being up in November. It's a couple weeks away, 2023. But, if people are listening to this in 2024 and on, just know this is where it started and they're only going to get better. And they're doing it because they're really passionate about helping people out and helping people grow. So we probably will do another one of these, 6 months to a year from now, and you'll be telling us about some of the exits you've already had. So it'll be super fun and what we've all learned. So really appreciate your time. This has been awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the success both of you have. So thanks again.
The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice, and it should not be relied on as such. It should not be considered a solicitation to buy or an offer to sell a security. It does not take into account any investor's particular investment objectives, strategies, tax status, or investment horizon. You should consult your attorney or tax advisor.